Finally, the last chapter of the mini-saga called Saint Seiya 10 was published in Japan. This chapter is the beginning of the Zeus saga, which already has a premiere date announced. And today we're going to check out all the details about all of this. Hello, Knights and Amazons, welcome to the channel. Always wanted to know, I'm Wes. In today's video, I bring you the complete Chapter 3 of Saint Seiya 10 and all the predictions about the Zeus saga, which premieres in May of this year. So go ahead and comment where you're watching this video from and how long you've been waiting for the Zeus saga to finally begin. And of course, click like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get into this awesome video. The ruins of the sanctuary exude a sepulchral silence, heavy with the weight of millennia. Saori walks among the ruins of the sanctuary, where time seems to have stood still after conflicts that shaped humanity. There were also traces of a holy war there. Saori arrives at the ruins of the Olympus house, and she thinks as her eyes find the signs markings carved into the stone. This place is the 13th lost house from the mythological era, the House of Olympus. She stops in front of the ruined structure, feeling the residual energy of a forbidden past. Suddenly, something shines brightly under the gravel. As she removes the earth, Saori reveals a sacred artifact, a golden arrow emanating an ancient cosmos. She raises it against the sunlight and gives it to Odysseus, that is, the goddess's arrow. The revelation brings back memories of past sacrifices. She presses the artifact against her chest, closing her eyes. As memories of epic battles and fallen heroes play like a movie in her mind, the greatest in all of history. Oh, noble knight, I understand, Odysseus. Not long ago, Aeolus also scolded me. My duty is to protect the love and justice of the land. I have this engraved in my heart. But if that's the case, the knights have once again thrown themselves into the burning fire of battle. Tears stream down Saori's face, but her gaze is one of unwavering determination. She remembers the scoldings from those who protected her, the sight of her knights. Enduring the torment, she drives the goddess's arrow into the ground at the top of the Olympus ruins. A declaration of war against fate itself. Saori said, "This is by no means something I desire. From here on, this Athena intends to face the battle alone." From up there, gazing at the lush horizon, she makes a solitary decision that will change the course of the universe. The cosmos of the goddess's golden arrow begins to burn, increasing its golden glow and reaching the heavens. Meanwhile, in the upper layers of reality, the sky ignites. A solar chariot pulled by 3 imposing winged steeds tears through the clouds. A warrior god in golden armor, with ornaments reminiscent of the sun itself, freezes as he senses a fluctuation in the world's energy. Surprised, he said, "What, that cosmos I felt for a moment? And now, there's no doubt my sister's cosmos, my sister Athena, is about to awaken again. This is bad. If that happens this time, for sure the gods of heaven will bury Athena in the earth. The omen of tragedy." Apollo's vision is of Athena's colossal statue exploding into 1,000 pieces, its fragments orbiting planet Earth, against a backdrop of celestial flames. The divine verdict has been sealed. It's the beginning of the end, a premonition of total destruction, fueled by the wrath of those who dwell on Olympus. And with the end of this chapter, we have the announcement of the legitimate continuation of Saint Seiya, which is the Heaven Saga, set to begin on May 14, 2026. The first thing we need to analyze is Saori's emotional and strategic state in Saint Seiya. In 10, she makes the decision to face Olympus alone. But why now? Historically, Athena has always trusted her knights. Since the mythological era, the 88 warriors who wear the bronze, silver, and gold armors have been the goddess's shield. However, after the exhausting battles against the Gemini Saga, Poseidon, and finally the awakening of Hades in the Elysian Fields, Saori's soul seems to have reached its limit. The theory here is that Saori realized a flaw in the system of the Holy Wars. As long as there are knights fighting for her, the gods will see humanity as Athena's weapon, and not as an independent race that deserves to survive. By deciding to fight alone, she tries to change Earth's status before the Olympian Council. She wants to be judged as a goddess, not as the leader of a rebel army. But if the destruction of Athena's statue actually happens in the story, that changes everything. That statue is the sealed form of Athena's armor, a divine armor of immeasurable power. If the statue explodes, Saori is technically vulnerable. That was just a vision from Apollo, but if it really happens, the fragments of the statue would be enough for Athena to recreate her armor and protect the Earth. Leave your opinion in the comments. So far, we've also seen glimpses of Apollo and Artemis in the manga. Apollo is not just the god of the sun in Saint Seiya, he represents absolute order. He is the opposite of Hades. While Hades wanted the silence of death, Apollo seeks the purity of perfection. For him, the fact that humans wounded the body of a god like Hades is an unforgivable sin that throws the universe out of balance. I theorize that Apollo won't be a cliché villain, but rather a philosophical antagonist. His techniques will probably involve manipulating light at the atomic level, disintegrating matter before the night can even raise his cosmos. But Olympus is made up of the 12 major gods. If the Heaven Saga really turns out to be the end of times, get ready to see figures that have only been mentioned in the story. Here comes an incredible possibility for the story. The one who created the armors, the one who forged the glories of the celestial angels, would be God. Hephaestus of heaven could appear not as a frontline fighter, but as the architect of Olympus's defenses. Imagine the knights having to face automaton armors or prototype armors that surpass the gold level. Hephaestus is the lord of fire in the forge, and his temple on Olympus would be a labyrinth of living metal. Speed is the trademark of the knights, especially after reaching the speed of light. But what is the speed of light? Close to Hermes, he could be responsible for destabilizing the Bronze Knights even before they reach Olympus. Acting as an agent of chaos, Hera is known for her fury against those who challenge the hierarchy. If Athena is Zeus's favorite daughter, Hera could be the driving force behind Saori's punishment. The theory is that Hera will use illusions and mental manipulation, testing the knights' loyalty, and unlike Poseidon's mariners or Hades' specters, Apollo's warriors are the angels. They wear the glories. The theory for the next chapters of TEN is that we will see a hierarchy of angels. We already know Tuma, the lost brother of Marin of Eagle. Tuma is an example of a human who sought to become a god through power and the erasure of emotions. In the Heaven Saga, we will see another like him, humans or celestial beings who believe that emotions are the weakness of Earth. Chapter 3 of Saint Seiya 10 also gave us a huge clue. The goddess's arrow found in the 13th house. To understand the possibilities, we need to remember Odysseus of Ophiuchus. He was the master of masters, the man who could heal even death. My theory is that the goddess's arrow is not an instrument of death, but of transmission. Saori didn't drive it into the ground to attack, but rather to create an anchor for Odysseus's soul. Why is this important? Because Odysseus holds the forbidden knowledge of the mythological era, being a powerful knight allied with Athena. The ninth sense is absolute consciousness, the state of being, where the individual becomes a universal concept. Poseidon and Hades operate at this level. For humans to win the Heaven Saga, they can't just raise their cosmos to infinity. They need to become concepts. Seiya needs to become hope itself, and that there is immortality and so on. The goddess's arrow can be the catalyst that injects this understanding into the souls of the knights. And if in the Sanctuary Saga we had the 12 houses, in the Heaven Saga we'll have the 12 temples of Olympus. But forget about the stone staircase. Time and space are relative. The knights will have to split up again, and each one will face a god who is the opposite of their nature. Imagine Ioga of Cygnus, the master of absolute zero, having to face a god of fire or solar heat. It would be the ultimate test of his freezing techniques, where he would have to freeze the power of divine flames. And what can we imagine about Zeus? In all versions of the franchise, Zeus is an absent figure, having left the Earth in Athena's care. Why would he return now? The theory is that Zeus doesn't want to destroy the Earth out of evil, but rather because of obsolescence. To him, the human experiment has failed. The final confrontation between Seiya and Zeus wouldn't be a fight of fists, but rather of wills. Zeus would test whether human sacrifice still has value. In this scenario, the goddess's arrow would act as the deciding vote. If the arrow shines with the light of humans, it would grant another era of peace. If it goes out, the universe would be reset. We can't rule out the return of the Gold Saints. Although they died at the Wailing Wall, their souls were sealed by the gods as punishment for their rebellion. In the Heaven Saga, there's a possibility that they could be freed, but not in the way we expect. They could return as guardian spirits, guiding the protagonists, or in a more dramatic twist, the gods could resurrect the Gold Saints as puppets of the heavens, forcing Seiya and the others to fight against their former mentors. Again, however, the most accepted theory among fans is that the saints will return to help Athena. The Heaven Saga should address the cosmos of the gods and the golden blood of the gods. While the human cosmos wears out and there is physical effort, the divine cosmos would be infinite. The battle now takes place in the realm of the creator gods, Olympus. So what do you think is going to happen? Is Saori being heroic or just stubborn by trying to face everything alone? And who do you most want to see in Olympus? Apollo's fury or Zeus's judgment? Comment your theory below. Let's discuss every detail in the comments. And of course, thank you for watching this video until the end and see you next time. Burn your cosmos to infinity.